Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are we doing today? On this wonderful Sunday. Well, Sunday for me, don't know about you. It is a Sunday afternoon, evening, early evening time here. It is daylight saving, so it's about 4:45 and it is getting dark, which I don't mind. I don't mind the dark. I don't mind the rain. I don't mind the cold. Don't much care to be out in it, but I don't mind it. So that is where we are today. So we are going to move on. Oh, excuse me. This is Rush to Judgment with Jessica, and I'm Jessica. So here we're going to talk about things that interest me and things that might interest you, and hopefully they do since you clicked on this video. Today we're talking about the Chandler Halderson trial. We are on day 3, and this is the first part of day 3. There's 2 parts, and this is the first half of day 3. And he is on trial for the murder and dismemberment of his mom and dad. So far, we've laid some groundwork for the sorry, got distracted. Little child came in the door, of course, because I hit record. So they've laid the groundwork for most of it. Some videos, some timelines, some things of that nature. So that's where we are for that. Again, just want to put it out there that I'm not an expert in anything legal or law related. I got my legal education from the LawTube and the legal commentary from watching those people. So I do not specialize in any of this. I just sit here and watch the things and have comments, questions, concerns, thoughts. That's what I do. I'm sure this is what I do all day. I just talk about things or watch things, and then I talk to myself. So I figured I'd record it in these times. So that's how I'm going about it. So, anyway, we are going to get started with day 3, the first part of day 3, and go from there. Let me do that. What? Okay. And do that. And we're off.
Okay, please be seated, everyone. Good morning, folks. Thanks again for being so prompt. I appreciate it very much. I wanted to, and I must once again, ask whether anyone in between the time I saw you at the end of the day yesterday and this morning were exposed intentionally or unintentionally to any information about the case, participated in or had discussions or were overhearing discussions about the case or sought any information via any media whatsoever. I see no hands. Thank you very much. We're going to proceed today then with the case in chief. Attorney Brown.
Steakhouse Dulce Melander.
Do you solemnly swear or the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Ms. Melander, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I have to ask you two questions. First, I didn't hear myself. I don't know if the court reporter heard. Did you say yes to the oath that you swore?
Oh, I did.
Thank you.
I say yes.
Thank you. With the masks and with being nervous, I'm sure it was hard to tell. I want to make sure the record reflected that. Secondly, you just took off your mask. Are you comfortable? And do you think you can safely and responsibly testify without wearing a mask?
I just feel like they won't hear me then.
I appreciate that. And if you can do so, if you're okay being unmasked, we will all, except for whoever's asking questions, be unmasked. So we have that layer of protection. If that's all right with you, please proceed without your mask on. And I'll remask myself as I'm not going to do any more talking. Attorney Brown.
All right. Good morning. What we're going to start with is I'm going to have you tell us your name and spell it out because the court reporter is writing everything down.
My name is Dulce Melander, and DulceMellenter.
And Dulce, do you have a daughter named Catherine?
Yes, I do.
And does she go by the name Kat?
Yes.
And for a while, back last year and maybe a little before, was Kat dating someone named Chandler Halderson?
Yes.
And you got to know Chandler Halderson pretty well yourself, didn't you?
Yes. Yes.
Approximately, and it's okay if it's just kind of a range, how long do you think your daughter was dating Chandler?
Around 2 years.
And you would see Chandler pretty frequently?
Yeah, kind of, yes.
Okay. So there's this thing we're going to do now where the judge in 1 second is going to have everyone that is wearing a mask take them off just briefly. That's over here. And I'm going to ask you, do you see Chandler in the courtroom? So wait 1 second.
I would ask if everyone who's not in the jury box would lower their mask for the count of 3 so that the witness can observe everyone's faces. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and replace your masks, please.
Ms. Melander, do you see Chandler in the courtroom?
Yes.
Can you tell me where he's sitting and kind of describe what his clothes are today?
He is wearing a blue tie and kind of white.
And is he sitting to my left over here?
Yes.
I'd ask the record reflect identification.
You will.
Your daughter, in the course of dating Chandler, sometimes stayed with you and sometimes she had her own apartment, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what types of things would you do where you would see Chandler while they were dating?
He will cook. We will cook, or we will be order beat ups.
B-dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yes. Yes.
And would you see him every day or every week or a couple times a month?
Repeat the question again.
How often would you see him?
Often when Catherine wasn't home, yes.
Were you aware from Chandler if he had a job back in 2021 before all this happened?
He was working at what is the name? Can you give me a second?
Yeah.
He was working at the swimming. I think it was a DNR or yeah.
Do you know what he was doing for them?
Well, he's a good swimmer, so he wasn't called to, I don't know, to rescue, to see something in the waters. I really, but it was something with the DNR, I remember.
He would get called to do rescues and things like that?
Yes. Very, I think it was very, yeah.
At some point, did Chandler get another job that you were aware of?
Oh, yes, I did, yes.
Tell me about, what job was that?
That was American Family Insurance.
And what sticks out to you about remembering about Chandler working at American Family Insurance?
Can I help it? I
Well,
apologize.
I took him out to eat because he got the job, but he had people, a group of people, they were putting on for him. Yes.
So you took him out to eat when he got the job?
Yes.
Where did you go to eat?
Oh, Mexican Rositas. He likes the tacos.
And was it kind of a celebratory dinner? Did people dress up
The
and things like that?
tacos.
Yeah, he was dressed up really nice.
And did Mr. Halderson or did Chandler tell you about the job that he was getting at American Family Insurance?
Briefly, it was something about computers. You know, he's a computer guy.
And he was dating your daughter at this time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Were you happy that your daughter's boyfriend had a job?
Yes,
Was that important to you?
Objection.
yes.
Overruled. The answer can stand.
What did that mean?
No, it was all legal nonsense. We'll just, it's all right. So after the
Legal nonsense.
time you take him out to celebrate getting the American Family job, you get Mexican food. Did Chandler ever talk to you much about his job at American Family Insurance?
Yeah, he was working at home. That's about it.
Did you know anything about exactly what he was doing?
Just computers.
Did you
I
know?
think-
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it was just computers and
Nonsense.
also, I think it was just computers.
Thinking back to that dinner where you were celebrating him getting the job at American Family, if you had to give us kind of an approximate time, do you know when that was?
I think it was afternoon, mid-afternoon maybe. I don't quite remember.
What time of the year?
Oh,
Do you know if it was in the spring? Do you remember at all? It's okay if you don't.
no, I don't remember.
Who all went to that dinner?
Just him and I.
Oh, okay. You two together.
Yes.
Okay.
I asked him to meet me there.
Whose idea was it to go out?
Mine.
And because he had gotten the job,
Yes.
and you paid for dinner, I would imagine.
Yes. Yes.
So other than knowing he worked on some computer stuff and for American Family,
That's
did you know anything else about that job, really?
Well, he wanted to do the solar panels. I don't know. The American Family was getting him for the solar panels, but I know he was very good in computers.
Was Chandler around this time, was he going to school anywhere while he was working at American Family?
Um, he was having, he was doing a credit because he was going to UW. So he was needed a credit to go to the UW, I think, because Catherine's, I think.
Did Chandler talk to you much about going to school and what classes he was taking?
No. It was one class that he needed to graduate.
He was about to graduate.
I think so.
Going into kind of the late spring of last year, so May and then into June, maybe the summer, into July, just before everything started, that happened. Did Chandler get a new job somewhere else in the country?
Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but can we approach real quick?
Okay. We're going to have a conversation that nobody else can hear, so we use this white noise.
Mute it because
Can I-
That's hand sanitizer, though. We're not going to drink that. Yeah.
uh,
I'm gonna take all the sanitizer.
Jesus, sweet lady.
Yes.
And where was that job?
In Florida.
Do you know what you'd be doing or where you'd be working?
He was supposed to get samples, but I don't know of what. But he was going to Florida.
Florida?
Yeah. You know the very pricey cars?
Pricey cars. The Tesla.
It's a very pricey car. I don't know the name of the car.
What type of car is it?
Oh, like $50,000 car. Tesla, yes.
Is it one of those?
But I think Tesla has another company that is from Tesla. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry.
Did Chandler share with you, and I know he shared a lot with your daughter, but I'm asking kind of what you knew just from Chandler. Did he share with you any details about what this job was?
He was going to get those samples, and he also was working for the solar panels too, because I think it has something to do. It's kind of an engineering job or something like that. Yeah.
Job in Florida?
Yes.
Did he tell you, you personally, you'd be making more money or less money? Did you talk about all about that?
But he says that he will be have a a good job, a really good money. Yeah.
Did Chandler ever talk to you about where he was going down there? Did he get down house or anything like
It was an apartment that he showed me
that? How did he show you?
in his cell phone.
Did he say he had a car or anything like
Yes. Yes.
that? Tell me what you knew about that from Chandler.
Well, Catherine has my car. And I say that, Catherine, if you guys need a car, take my car. And the three of us, we were talking about the car in the apartment. And I'm sorry, it's just a bad burp. And he says that his cars over there, they are very cheap because older people they're kind of, they don't drive anymore, or they're past, and then they have cars in there. So he was ordering the car, and I say that I will sign my car for them can sell it and then can buy maybe 2 cars. Oh, and then he was saying, oh, I will take care of it.
She mentioned your daughter. Was your daughter going to go with Chandler?
Yes.
And did Chandler talk
She is so trusting.
The day that he brought Catherine home because she have an injury in her back, he did. He basically asked me.
Your permission?
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
I was very worried.
Why?
She's my only daughter. I was uncertain.
You were uncertain.
Yes.
I'm going to start asking you questions about kind of 4th of July weekend. Okay? You remember the 4th of July weekend last year?
Oh, yes. Yes.
On the 4th of July weekend, there were some plans to visit that, right? With Catherine and Chandler and others. Right?
Yes.
You were living here in Madison at the time, right?
Yes.
But was it your fiance,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
has a farm kind of in a rural area of Maine, right?
Yes.
So it's Chris's farm if you're engaged
Yes. We got engaged in May.
in May.
Yes.
And Chris lives in the farm with her elderly mom.
Yes.
You go out there.
I live part-time there. Yes.
Judge. Sorry again, but can we approach?
Thank you.
Oh, look, they got some hip to blow people's eardrums out.
So tell me about what the plan was on the 4th of July.
Well, we have a swimming pool, and we ask if they want to swim, they can swim, or just eat, and
Where were you going to have this dinner?
oh, at the farm.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about what does it look like?
Do I have to face them?
Basically,
But do pull the microphone a little bit closer because the fans seem fairly noisy right now. Go ahead.
It's like a paradise. It's peaceful. It's green, and it's flowers that you don't see. It's just beautiful.
so the 4th of July weekend, who all went to the farm?
Chandler, Catherine, James, one of James' friend, Chris, Michael, and Papa, and me.
Did Chandler talk at all at the 4th of July about having suffered any sort of abuse,
I beg your pardon?
Did Chandler ever tell you around that time about suffering any sort of concussion?
Oh, we knew. I knew that he had a concussion. Yeah, he fell.
And was Chandler acting the same or differently than usual?
He was kind of okay, quiet.
That's kind of okay.
But yeah, he was sitting at the table with the other kids. So
What types of things did you do that day?
we ate, and we were waiting that the kids will be going and use the pool, and then went and used the pool actually. Just happy that the kids were home.
The kids used the pool?
Yeah, yeah.
Did Chandler-
Catherine and James' friend used the pool. Yes. I don't know if Chandler got into the pool, but I think Chandler always was cleaning the debris. Yeah.
cleaning the pool?
Yeah. Yeah.
The next day, do you know if Chandler went back to the farm for July 5th? Should be a Monday.
Yes.
And how did you become aware that Chandler went back?
Because Catherine texted me.
Did you then go off to the farm?
I fly to the farm. Yes.
Why do you fly to the farm? That's okay.
I was just worried. Can I have 1 minute?
There's no about the water.
Oh.
And it was just-
Yes. Yes.
Do you think that you need more than just a few moments outside of the courtroom?
Just a few minutes.
Okay. I'll go ahead and excuse the witness. Don't talk about your testimony with anyone. You can go back to where Ms. Brown is in the vestibule.
You forgot your mask. I'll grab it.
If it's all right with the jury, we'll just stay. You can stand up if you need to or stretch.
And no tab. So I was worried that he can wait by the driveway because
Sorry, my ear itches. No, I paused it.
that Chandler can wait by the driveway because my fiance sometimes is a big farm, so sometimes she just like to be with just no top.
In the pool.
To go to the pool, yeah, she just put her shorts to go to the pool and no top. So I was worried that he might.
Prior to that day, when you found out that Chandler was maybe going out there by himself, are you aware if Chandler had gone out to the farm much before by himself, alone, without Kat? So the better question is, do you know if Chandler usually went out there by himself?
Oh, no. No, Chandler will never go to the farm without Catherine.
So this would have been the first time that you're aware of?
Yes.
So you drive out to the farm. You flew out there, I think you said.
Yes, because I was worried that Chandler will had the shock of his life seeing my partner.
When you get there, do you talk to your partner, Chris?
When I got there, it was Chandler and Chris talking on the porch.
You know what they were talking about? Did you overhear it?
But I opened the door and Chandler looked like sad, kind of sleepy, like, those, like, I don't know. He did not look okay to me, but I didn't hear what they were talking until Chris says there was some news.
Okay. There was some news. Do you know what the news was? Did you hear Chandler talk about it? What was that news?
That he didn't get the job.
Which job?
The one in Florida.
Okay. Do you know why he didn't get that job?
Because he couldn't, he was supposed to be there, but his brother got sick, so he couldn't go. And the next time he fell and couldn't go. And I think they couldn't hold the job anymore because he couldn't fly to Florida.
Because of the fall?
Mhm.
Okay.
The concussion, his concussion was really bad.
What did Chandler ask to do, or what happened next?
You could still drive,
at the
right?
farm?
Well, we were very supportive. We were like, he lost a good job, and I was worried about he putting on money for the apartment, and Chris and I were trying to find out how can we help him because he looked really, really like down. And
Did you all stay together, or did some point Chandler go somewhere else on the farm?
we were talking, and then after that he basically excused himself to go swimming.
And did he go by himself, or did you go with him at that point?
No, he went by himself.
What did you and Cress do while Chandler was swimming?
We were trying to figure it out how to help them, how to help him. He just got a concussion. I was very upset with Krista because why she wasn't to taking him that day. He has a doctor's appointment.
He thought his mom should have been there.
Yeah, so we were talking about, as a mom, I was very upset with his mom.
How long, at some point, did you go down to the pool to check on Chandler with Chris?
I was asking Chris what we're gonna have for dinner. I bring chicken, and she was very upset, and it was a while.
How long do you think it was before you went down to check on Chandler at the pool?
I don't know, probably half an hour maybe, or a little bit longer, because I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Did you go alone, or did you and Chris go together?
No, we go together. Oh, yeah, of course.
And how did you get down to that area?
We use a little car where we mow the lawn.
A lawnmower?
Yeah, lawnmower. So I basically inherited the lawnmower that Papa used to use, and so we, like a two grannies going.
You were both on the lawnmower?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you drive down toward the pool?
Well, we drove to the pool. Yes.
Tell me about where you went as you were driving.
What do you mean?
Yeah, where did you go first when you started driving down to the pool?
Well, we went to the pool. It's on a little hill. So we went, and we didn't see Chandler swimming. We didn't see anything. So we turned right, and we saw the car, and I thought he was sleeping.
Where was the car in relation to the pool? Was it close or farther away?
Oh,
Wish I would have been.
Would it help if I showed you a map?
as to what
oh
day
yes,
this
photo?
sure. Oh, a photo, yeah.
I have a huge photo of the farm.
Oh,
Okay. I'm going to show you. I told you it was big. It's number 57. Is that the farm
That's what she said.
from above? From like an airplane?
yes. That is the shed.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the house, you cannot see it because it's a lot of trees.
Sure.
But can I point it?
Yeah, so here's what I'll do. Does this look to be like what the farm would have looked like back in July, except for all of these police cars that are kind of involved? But otherwise, is this what the farm looked like?
Yes.
All right, I'll move 57 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
It is received. It may be published.
All right, I'm going to move this a little bit closer to you, okay?
Okay.
And you can stand up if you'd like. How about if you could you point, where's the driveway meet the road? Where's the entrance to that farm?
Right
Follow it all the way down and
here.
right there? All right, I'll hold on to this. And where's the house? Can you point to that?
Oh, right.
You can kind of see the roof.
Yes. That is the house. This is the other shed.
And where's the pool that we're talking about? Okay. Now, if you could, kind of standing off to the side so these folks can see you, if you could point to, maybe just take your finger and trace the way that you drove down to the pool on that lawnmower.
We always drove this way.
Okay. And the pool is here. Where did you say you saw Chandler's car?
Oh, about right here.
Okay. And you said you thought he was sleeping?
Yeah, the back of the car, the trunk was open, so I thought he was sleeping.
And did you drive your lawnmower? Did you folks drive over by that car to look in?
Mhm.
And what did you see?
I saw something that was a little bit metal. It looks like, when you put a car and it's like a little,
The ramp?
yeah, like a little ramp.
Okay.
Like a gray kind of.
Bill, you want to move the mic? It's really difficult to hear.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about you take a seat real quick, and we'll keep asking
And while we're
questions.
moving, let me just reflect for the record that if you think of the upper half of the picture and the middle of the upper half, the witness indicated that the road from the access road to the driveway to the house is in the upper middle portion of the half. You can see a small amount of roadway. She traced her finger through the woods, demonstrating that the house is within the wooded area in that upper quadrant, identified the swimming pool as a round shape, and indicated that the driving with herself and Cress on the lawnmower was from the area approximately where the house was down to the back of the shed, and indicated that the vehicle of Mr. Halderson was lower into the lower half of the picture, approximately where you can see some unidentified objects that don't appear to be cars. Is that accurate, counsel?
That's fair. Well, why don't you, if you could, one more time, point to where Mr. Halderson's car was when you drove down there?
That's the part I couldn't see as clearly.
It was right over here.
All right. And so we'll just say that is approximately 3 inches below the barn on the photograph.
And in between the cars and the other items, if you were to split that distance kind of at an intersection between a line south if you view north as the top of the picture of the barn, intersecting with a line between those white cars and the other objects.
That's fine. All right, you can take a seat.
Any problem with that description, counsel?
No.
All right, thank you.
And we have to do that because we're typing out the court record. So when we point to things, the judge will describe what they are sometimes. So you saw the car, you said the back was open, and you saw maybe a ramp type thing. Did you see Chandler in that car?
No,
Oh, you're fine.
Chandler.
no. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
sorry,
There we go.
sorry. No,
Chandler wasn't in the car.
no,
At that time, when you're looking at the car, did you see where Chandler was right then?
no,
Did you know where Chandler was?
no.
What did you and Cress do?
But she was upset. And I said, well,
I'm going to object at this point.
I'm sorry, object to.
Possible hearsay that may come out. Possible hearsay that may come out.
what? I'm sorry.
Attorney Brown will rephrase the question to make sure he's asking what you thought or said.
And Cress is going to testify next, right?
Oh,
In
yeah.
this case. So the jury is only going to hear from you now and then Cress next. So anything she said, we'll hear from her. But what did you and Cress do at that time? Not what was said, but what did you
Oh, we went to the pool.
do? Okay. You jumped in the pool.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it just you and Cress in the pool?
Yeah. Mhm.
At some point while you were in the pool, did you see Chandler or figure out where Chandler was?
No, he was coming to the pool.
Okay. You saw him?
Yeah.
If you could, I'm gonna have you stand up and point to where did you see Chandler coming from the first time you saw him while you were in the pool? All right. Okay. And did you see where he'd come from before that? Okay. I'll note the witness just pointed to the right of the barn, essentially. That's fine.
Thank you. That does appear to be accurate. Counsel for the defense agrees. Perfect. We have what you pointed to reflected accurately in the record. Thank you.
Okay.
What did Chandler do? You saw him coming. Where did he go, or what did he do?
He asked if he can get in the pool with us.
And what did you say?
I was like, I was like, no.
No.
But I say it myself, no.
Why?
because Chris didn't have clothes on the top.
She didn't have a top on. Okay. Did Chandler, what happened next? Did Chandler go away? Did he get in the pool? What happened?
He got in the pool.
What did Chandler do once he got in the pool?
He was just, he was looking. He was looking.
So she told him no.
to the horizon.
And was he in the water?
Yes.
What was he doing in the water physically? Was he moving around? Was he swimming?
He was like going underwater and, putting on water on his body and,
So you're making those motions on your arm. And this is one of those weird things because we have to type down everything that's happening. How would you describe what he was doing when you put your hands on your arms?
like he was, putting on water, when you put water and.
Okay. So staring off kind of through that field toward the horizon and
yes, because Chris is behind me and I put my body to kind of shield her but Chandler was looking to the horizon and then he turned around and then he was getting more on the water and he was like on the water. Like,
okay. Was he saying anything?
not much. The water was nice and warm, but
Did you or Cress ask Chandler where he had been?
Objection to the form of the question.
Sustained. You can
Did
rephrase.
Chandler tell you where he had been?
no, I thought he went for a walk because he wasn't in the car. He was walking. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's what I said to Chris.
Now I'm gonna ask you a question. If you don't remember, that's okay. But when Chandler was walking toward the pool and right before he got in, did he still have all his clothes on or did he have some of his clothes off?
He had his shorts on and he didn't have I think his shirt was off.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So tell me if I'm remembering this correctly. So you see him walking, coming from next to the barn. As you see him, he's wearing his shorts, but not his shirt. He
Mhm.
gets in the pool, he stares off kind of toward the horizon, and he is splashing water onto himself.
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Did he tell you anything at all about what he was going to do next or what his plans were that day?
Yes, he was going to my place because Catherine was making his favorite. And we asked what was his favorite. And he says McDonald's.
He's going to go get McDonald's.
McDonald's. And I said, Catherine is a lazy. She should not make McDonald's.
You thought your daughter would cook something better.
I'm like, yeah. I mean, they always cook good food in the house.
Sure. How long were you in the pool with Chandler? You and Cress and Chandler, how long did that last?
I don't know, probably, I don't remember how long, but I mean, we were still, I think maybe 15 minutes, maybe.
Do you know how it ended? Did everyone get out at the same time or did
No.
how did it end with Chandler at least being there?
Chandler, after Chandler, went and swim for a little bit, he didn't swim because he didn't even wet his hair. After he went and just splashed himself, then he get out of the pool and then I feel more comfortable and so.
Chandler left at that point?
Yes. Well, he has to go back to pick up his car.
Sure. And did you see him after that or did he leave at that point after he got his car?
No, he just went, got his car and then drove off and we just waving. We was very happy that he came, but which was strange because Catherine wasn't with him. But
At any point the day before the 4th of July when you were out there, or this day, the July 5th, Monday, so Sunday or Monday when you see Chandler, does he tell you that his parents are anywhere, at a cabin or anything like that?
Yes, he says that they were going up north. They went up north. But that was Sunday. They already left,
So this
and
was
I already
Monday.
knew because
Monday was the pool.
yeah, I already knew.
Did Chandler ever express any concern to you about where his parents were? That he was worried about them at all?
He looked worried. Yeah.
He looked worried? But maybe, did he say anything
Yeah.
about that or just looked worried?
That's just his face.
No, he didn't say too much about it. But on Tuesday, that was different.
And then, and we're going to go there in 1 second, but one more question about the July 4th and July 5th when you see Chandler on the phone. Would you describe the way he was acting, his behavior?
Objection, leading.
We'll hear the full question.
Would you describe his behavior or the way he was acting? Was that normal for Chandler? Was it different than usual?
It was a little bit different.
What do you
On
mean?
that Sunday?
Yeah, let's talk about Sunday or even
Yes.
Monday the next day. What do you mean by different?
Sunday when he was kind of okay and with the kids because the kids sit down in the same table and they were interacting, but for some reason Chandler was a little bit more quiet in a way. But he was, and he looked kind of also sleepy.
On the 4th of July?
Yeah,
What about the next day?
tired. The next day,
Because he's been up all night trying
I'm
to.
sorry, I just
Burn body
thought that
parts.
Chandler was so depressed that he probably took his mom's pills because she had cancer. So I thought he,
Objection,
Speculation.
what?
may we approach?
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. We're going to talk again.
She does not understand. This poor lady. She thinks she's doing something wrong, which in a way she kind of is, but also she's not because he's asking the questions and then she's answering the questions.
I'm going to ask the question a different way. Sometimes when we do that, I'll rephrase the question, meaning I'll ask it a different way. You talked to police a lot in this case, right? And told them what
Right.
happened?
Right.
Fair to say that you described that day, the 5th, when Chandler was out there, that he was acting kind of dopey and just way different than usual, maybe.
Right.
Okay. Now,
Weird.
after this day
Acting
is over and Chandler leaves, that's the 5th. So you saw him on July 4th, 4th of July, everyone's out. July 5th, he's out using the pool.
Mhm.
You see him a couple days later, right?
Mhm.
Tell me about that.
The next day?
Yeah.
Well, it was Tuesday, so we had beat-ups.
Sure. Is that your normal thing?
Yeah.
You got some Buffalo Wild Wings?
What?
Yeah.
That's a family.
Beat-ups.
Yes, Chandler, James, and Catherine and I we like beat-ups, so we always buy what my sons like, what Catherine likes, what Chandler likes, and what I like. And it's just the four of us.
And that was on Tuesday?
Yes.
Because it's buy one, get one free, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. And you mentioned
Oh, you know.
James is your son.
Yes.
Mr. James
correct.
Corden.
And this was at your house?
You know.
Yes.
Did Chandler say anything? And again, I'm only looking for things Chandler said to you, not James or Catherine. They're, that's a different thing. But did Chandler say anything to you when you guys were doing the Buffalo Wild Wings night about his parents or where they were?
He was just worried because his parents he wasn't here from his parents yet.
Did he tell you anything more about that?
No.
How was he acting on this day?
Tired. Sad in a way, maybe.
Because still,
At some point,
Bart
you
and
found
Bart.
out that Bart and Krista Halderson were missing. Like the people were looking for them and they didn't know where they went.
Well, 2 times it was brought up that they were missing. And on Tuesday, I questioned myself how they're missing. And I questioned saying, I will say that I didn't hear from my parents or my parents hasn't called me or I would not say anything unless I know they were missing.
And I know other people may have, but did you personally talk to Chandler about filing a police report or what to do about his parents missing, like what actions he should take?
No.
Did you know Bart and Krista Halderson very well yourself?
No. I just know what Chandler told me. And Catherine, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take a break now for just 1 second. So if you want to get a drink of water, but it'll just be about 30 seconds, okay?
Sure. Counsel, the witness would like to use the restroom, so I'm going to excuse her to go do that as you consult, and then she'll come right back.
he's probably done. I always wondered what they do. You have to go to the bathroom. I'd be like, hey, I have to pee. Can I do that? Where does so much dust come from all the time? Always losing skin cells. Dust all the time. Just all the time dusty. Oh no. Oh no. What's happening? Are you not going to pass forward to her bathroom break? Oh,
Cat, correct?
Yes.
This topic, I just want to clear up some.
Thank you. Attorney Brown. All right. Attorney Vera, did the defense wish to engage in cross-examination at this time?
Yes, thank you. Would you prefer if I call you Dulce or Ms. Melander?
Dulce.
Okay. I promise I'm not as scary as I make it seem right now. Sometimes I just have to tell Bill not to do things, and that's what we're doing, okay? So I just have a couple questions for you. And I know you may not like this topic. I just want to clear up some points. When you were talking about Cress in the farm and in the pool, she was topless, correct?
Yes.
And it makes you uncomfortable, correct, talking about it?
Very.
So when we saw you, that was just you being uncomfortable about Cress being topless and Chandler having to see that, correct?
Both.
Both the fact that she was topless and the fact that Chandler had to see.
No, that the fact that she was topless and that Chandler came in the pool.
Gotcha. Okay. But as far as Chandler
Because she
making
told
you
him
feel
not to.
uncomfortable, that's not something that you were feeling personally. It was just a situation with Cress being topless. And let me ask it this way.
no.
That day in the pool on the 5th, it was just a weird situation. Is that fair?
It was very weird, the whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Chandler was acting dopey. I think that's what the DA used.
Yes, but also I know Chandler that he is very polite, so I was like kind of surprised how there he went in the pool when Chris was topless, and he made me uncomfortable for that.
And that makes total sense. I would react that way too. Now, as far as your interactions with Chandler go, you mentioned that you took him out to dinner.
It wasn't dinner. It was more like lunch. I think I say it was midday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you took him out for lunch and it was just you and him, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Was that the first time you had interactions with Chandler where it was just you and him?
Yes.
And most of the times he's with Kat, correct?
Yes.
And you also mentioned something about whenever it's him and Kat and you guys cook. Is that correct?
Didn't cook. Yeah. Chandler is, yes.
Does Chandler help out?
Chandler likes to make good salmon. So yeah, Catherine and Chandler, they didn't cook.
So
they
they
leave a
cook.
mess, but yeah.
As they do.
Yeah.
So they cook, you take advantage, but then you have to clean. Is that fair?
Well, I have to clean, yeah.
Is the food worth it at least?
I beg your pardon?
Is the food worth the cleaning? Sorry, is the food worth the cleaning that you have to do?
Oh, yes, Chandler is a good cook.
And I have the same problem you do, or sometimes I need to speak into the mic, so that's why I'm sitting down right now.
Okay.
So in general, your interactions with Chandler and Kat,
They're annoying.
they're good, yes?
In some ways, yes.
And Chandler is a quiet person, correct?
Yes.
And we'll see your daughter later, but she brings out some of Chandler's funniness, if you will.
Yes. He can be funny.
He can be funny, but normally he's just quiet. He's a quiet guy.
Well, I think is when they work together. I mean, he was kind of funny. Yeah, he was. Yeah. In a way, yeah.
I mean, yes, we're all funny in a way. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions.
was
for
your
you.
question.
Thank you so much.
Any redirect? May this witness be excused and released?
Excused.
Okay. You're excused from testifying any further today, or at least this morning, but the state is maintaining you under subpoena, which means you can't discuss your testimony with anyone else, and they'll let you know when you're released from the subpoena itself, all right? Thank you, and you can take the water with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't have the water.
Oh, if it's all gone, that's fine too. Thank you.
Nice, Judge Vices.
State of Wisconsin calls Crescent LaSalle.
Crescent. Oh.
Good morning.
Morning.
If you believe you can do so safely and responsibly, testifying without a mask would be our preference. Would that be something you could feel that you could do today?
No.
All right, if you prefer to maintain your mask, I understand. Pull the microphone much closer because it does muffle our sound naturally.
Okay.
And if I have trouble hearing you and I'm really close to you, I'll ask you to do even closer just so everybody who's a little further away can hear. And as you can hear, the blowers are on this morning, so it muffles sound a little bit. Thank you.
Okay.
Please proceed, Attorney Raymond.
Thank you. Could you please state your full name, both first and last for the record, and then spell both your first and last name?
Crescent LaSalle, CRESENT L''SAI.
And Ms. LaSalle, do you know somebody by the name of Dulce Melander?
Yes, I do.
How do you know her?
She's my girlfriend.
Okay. And does she refer to you often as Cress?
Yes, everyone mostly does. And you
Okay.
can as well.
And do you know somebody by the name of Catherine Melander?
Yes, I do.
How do you know her?
I know her through Dulce. She's her daughter.
And through Catherine or Kat, did you become acquainted with somebody by the name of Chandler Halderson?
Yes.
And I'd ask, the judge will probably ask everyone to remove their masks, besides you and the jury. But could you see Mr. Halderson Chandler in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
As you look at the faces, I'll ask everyone not in the jury box to lower their mask and then replace their mask, please. Go ahead and answer the question if you could.
Yes.
Could you just let us know where he's seated and perhaps the color of his shirt?
Well, he's sitting over across the room over there. He's got a blue tie on.
Okay, I'd ask the record to reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
It shall.
What sort of relationship did you have with Chandler in June or so of 2021?
This year?
Yes.
Well,
Last year technically because it's January, but yes.
true, yeah. Well, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with Chandler. I got to know him through Catherine mostly. Most
Sure.
of the times I saw him were either get-togethers or through her.
Okay. And roughly, where do you live?
In Cottage Grove, in
Okay.
town.
In a rural part of Cottage Grove?
Yes.
And just while I approach you, I'm going to put my mask on.
Thank you.
Nobody's ever complained I was quiet. I'm going to show you what's been marked and received as Exhibit 57. Is this an overhead picture of your property in Cottage Grove?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So your house, you can barely see the roof right there. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's in the wooded area.
Okay. And that's like the top half, almost right in the middle of Exhibit 57. And this is a barn or a shed?
Yeah, it's an old tobacco shed.
Okay. And right here, this is a pool?
Yes,
Okay. And all of this wooded area, is that your property?
yes,
And there's more property over here that's not shown.
true. That's right.
What is on that property?
You mean the part that's unseen?
Yeah.
It's all grassy area. It's in a CRP program, a set-aside program, so it's just for wildlife.
So it's like wildflowers. Some people might describe it as like a briar, like little
Yeah,
bushes.
yeah, there's actually wild raspberries and things that can grow in there, right?
Before July 4th weekend, how many times approximately had Chandler been out to your property?
Oh, I couldn't say exactly. I could give you an estimate.
Sure,
You
an
know,
estimate is just fine.
Like 10 or 12 times, maybe.
Okay. And did he ever come out there prior to the July 4th weekend by himself, or was he always with somebody else?
He always was with someone else. He'd never come out there alone before that I'm aware of.
Okay. And generally, I assume that was his girlfriend, Kat?
Yeah, she was always with him.
Okay. And prior to July 4th weekend, what did you have as far as what Chandler did for a living?
Well, what I understood is he had gotten a job at America. He was working there as far as I knew.
And did you have any understanding as if he was attending school or not?
I wasn't, I knew he had been in school, but I didn't know if he was going to school recently, but I knew he was in school. He was getting ready to graduate.
Okay. Do you see Chandler Halderson over the July 4th weekend?
Yes,
And what day did you see him?
on Sunday,
So July 4th itself.
yes.
How did Mr. Halderson behave on that day?
Well, he kind of seemed a little lot not like himself. if that
Can
makes
you
sense.
describe that? What do you mean by that?
He just seemed kind of off, like kind of weird, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I remember asking him how he felt, because he just kind of seemed.
Okay. You asked him how he felt. What did you remember how he responded?
Yeah, he just said, "Oh, I'm doing okay, or I'm doing the best that I can," and because he had an accident, he fell down the stairs or something. So I thought maybe it was because of the accident that he was acting off.
Sure. Was he displaying any physical symptoms on July 4th?
Not that I saw, no,
Was he wearing a neck brace at all on July 4th when you saw him?
no,
Did he act in any way that he seemed like disabled? Did he have any trouble walking or anything like that?
no, I didn't notice that.
Did you have any one-on-one conversations with Chandler on July 4th?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, shortly after he was done eating, the kids were sitting at the table in my family room, and they had gotten up, and I was kind of walking towards the kitchen, and he approached me and asked me if he could have my phone number, my personal phone number, because he wanted to know if he could come and use the pool.
Okay. Did you give him your number?
Yeah, I gave him my cell number, and I also gave him my landline,
Okay.
because I don't always answer my cell phone, and I don't have voicemail on my cell phone.
Okay. Did you guys have any further discussion on that day?
I don't recall.
So obviously prior to July 4th, he didn't have your number to your knowledge.
Not to my knowledge, I didn't give it to him.
Okay. And in all fairness, when you hung out with Chandler prior to July 4th, it was always with other people,
Yes,
namely Dulce and her family.
correct.
As of July 4th, did you have any knowledge about the whereabouts of Chandler's parents?
No, I didn't even know their names.
Did you know whether or not, had you heard any stories or anything about them being missing at this point?
No.
Let's fast forward to the next day, Monday, July 5th. Did you have any interactions with Chandler on Monday, July 5th?
Yes.
What's the first interaction you had with Chandler on that day?
The first interaction was I opened up my window. I live in a two-story, and I saw a car in my driveway. I came in from outside to get a drink of water, and I saw a car, and I didn't recognize the car. And someone was standing in my driveway, and it was Chandler. So I opened the window because he was kind of standing and holding his phone and looking around. And so I opened the window, and I asked him if he was okay. And he said, yeah. And I said, oh. And I said, are you here to use the pool? And he said, yeah, would that be all right? And I said, yeah, sure.
Were you expecting Chandler that day?
No.
All right. So do you remember about what time he showed up to use your pool? Just approximate, if you remember.
It was in the afternoon. I just remember coming in. It was really hot that day. I was working on a project. And so I came in to get a drink of water. So it was probably mid-afternoon-ish, I would say.
Okay. And what was Chandler like when you talked to him right there about using the pool? Is there anything noteworthy?
You mean when he was in the driveway?
Yeah.
Well, he just looked a little kind of spaced out a little bit,
Sure.
That's why I was kind of, because he kept looking around and holding his phone and, And like I said, I was just a little startled because I'm like, who's here,
Sure. Your property's pretty remote.
Yeah, it is.
And your property, just to clear things up, is in Dane County, Wisconsin?
Correct.
So what happened after you told Chandler he could use the pool?
Well, he drove up,
Just show up.
because I live on a hill, and when you come to the driveway, it's kind of in the middle of the hill, and so you have to drive further up the hill to where the pool is. So he drove up there.
Okay. Did you see at this time when he was going to use the pool, did you see at this time where he parked?
No, I did not see where he had parked at that time.
Okay. All right. So do you guys have any further discussion before he goes to use the pool?
He did come down to where I was working on my project, which was putting on a ramp on my deck. I was putting a ramp so that my father and my brother could get up and down the deck in their on the scooter and the wheelchairs.
Okay.
And so when I was working on that, he had come down. There's a hill that leads down to my house, and he'd come walking down that hill, and then we had a conversation.
What did you guys talk about?
Well,
Mind your business.
he was telling me about his accident. He said he was at a doctor's appointment, and so he was talking to me about what the doctor had said and what was going on.
Did he tell you when that appointment had been?
I don't remember.
Okay. What did he say occurred?
Well, he told me that he had like damage, and I asked him where, and he said in this area of his head, in the back of his head, and
All right. So you put your hand right
Yeah,
above
he
the top
said
of your neck.
back here, yeah,
Okay.
the back of his head.
And did he elaborate on what that damage was?
Well, he said it wasn't good, that they might have to do some surgery or something, and that he said he was having trouble like with numbers, and he said he got lost. He had to use a GPS, but he's just like said his mind was kind of messed up and wasn't thinking so well.
Okay.
He's full of shit.
Did you guys discuss anything besides just his physical health?
Yeah, I asked him, how he was overall doing and about his job, because he said he was getting a new job in Florida, and I asked him about that. And
What did he say?
well, he said that he probably wasn't going to get the job, that some manager had told him that it wasn't going to work out because of his injury, that he wasn't able to work. And then I'd asked him about maybe he could go back to American Family, and he said no, he didn't. He said that wouldn't happen. He wouldn't be able to do that. So he seemed concerned about, maybe not having a job and what was he going to kind of do. And I asked him, would he talk to his parents? Maybe would he talk to them, or, things like that, just to try to reassure him, because he just seemed upset about this news that he had gotten from the doctor.
Sure. And what did he respond to that?
To what?
To talk to the idea of talking to his parents about his job and health.
And he said, no, they're still up north. And I just says, well, maybe it would help you to talk to them. And his response is, he says, no, they'll just be mad. And which seemed odd to me, why his parents would be upset with him, that he was hurt and couldn't work. It just seemed odd to me.
Okay.
Well,
How long do you think this conversation took place?
Consistent
Maybe
failure.
20 minutes or so.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right.
And
What
he
happened
shows
after the
murders his
conversation?
mom and dad.
Well, I'm trying to remember, Dulce showed up. She'd come. I wasn't expecting her, but she had come to the house, and she came through the house. We were sitting on the deck, and she came and was like, what's going on? And I said, oh, well, I'm just chatting with Chandler here, and I guess he doesn't have such good news. And then she came out and sat down and asked what was going on. And then we started to kind of go back over what him and I had talked about to explain to her what was happening.
Sure. And the jury's already had the opportunity to hear from Dulce, so I don't need you to repeat anything that she said.
Okay.
But what kind of happened next in the events of?
Well, then he
That's
went to go use the pool, because before he'd come down and I'd asked him, how was the pool? He didn't answer. And so he said he was going to go back to use the pool. And then Dulce and I continued to talk, because we just felt something was a little odd, so we were concerned, and her and I had a conversation about him of what was going on.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
Well, I kind of got irritated. It was so hot, and I wanted to go swimming, and I was waiting for him to be done using the pool so I could go jump in the pool. And so I was getting impatient and waiting, wondering what was taking him so long. So I said, look, I'm going to go get in the pool. I'm done. I'm hot and I'm tired, and I want to go cool off. And she said, okay. So she went to go get her suit, and then her and I have this little riding lawnmower. And so we got on the riding lawnmower to go up to tell him, hey, we're going to go swimming now. And when we got up there, he wasn't in the pool, and the cover was still on the pool. And
Okay, so hold on. The pool has a cover.
yeah, I have like a solar. It heats up. It helps get the water warm, so it just lays flat on the top.
Sure.
So it's got like a little bubble.
And obviously you have to remove said cover to get into the pool.
Yeah, there's times I got lazy where I could fold it over just to get in, but I usually like to take it off so I could have the whole
Was it
pool.
folded over so somebody could get in at all?
No.
All right. So the covers on the pool, is Chandler in sight when you're over by the pool?
No.
Okay. And just is it exhibit 57? Here's the pool, the round blue. This is an aerial photo, so it almost just looks like a dot.
Right, that's the pool area.
Okay. So what do you do next?
Well, when we drove up, and you could kind of see no one was in the pool, and I didn't see. I was looking for him, and then when I looked to my right, when we came up the hill, I had the doors open in the shed, And I could see through the shed that his car was parked on the other side of the shed.
All right, can you approach Exhibit 57 here and kind of point to where you saw Chandler's vehicle? Okay, thank you. So he was parked kind of near, this is some wood and an oil drum.
Yeah, there's a pile of timber logs, and then it's like my scrap junk pile.
Fair. And it's kind of near the wooded line here. Okay. All right. So I'm not the best estimator, Judge. I would say 4 inches south of the barn, maybe 1 inch above the oil tank on Exhibit 57 is the area that the witness pointed.
That seems to be a fair description, yes.
Okay. I'm going to have you sit down just so we can hear you nice and loud on that microphone.
Okay.
So what do? You see his, oh, well, hold on one second. Do you remember what kind of vehicle he was driving that day?
It was like a little station wagon, like a hatchback.
Okay.
It might have been a Subaru, I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you know, was the hatch open, closed, something else?
The back hatch, the back was open.
Okay. All right. So that's where you observed the car, the back hatch, or if you're not a car person like me, you say the trunk was open. What do you do?
Well, yeah, because we go and he's not in the pool and we see the car and then I'm like, what the heck is going on? What is he doing? And I said, well, I'm going to go over and Dulcie was like, we were like, what's he doing? You know, what is going on?
Sure.
So we drove over to see if he was in the back of the car. Was he sleeping? What was he doing? Was he smoking weed or something? We didn't know. So we drove over there and with the mower and approached, and I drove to the back.
Smoking dope in my yard,
back
sir.
towards me.
Okay, so the back end was facing closer to the barn or the oil drum?
Towards me. The front end was facing the shed.
Oh, towards you right now.
Yes, towards
Okay,
me
so
right
towards
now.
the woods, towards the wood
Yeah, so
line,
it's facing this way.
the trunk hatch
Was
is
up.
up.
So
Okay.
we drove in the mower and drove to the back of the car because I thought maybe he was in the back of the car
Sure.
taking a nap or I don't know. And we look in there and there wasn't anything in the car that we could see.
Okay, and at this point, you see the car, it's empty, or there's no Chandler in it. Do you see Chandler anywhere on your property?
No, because then we stopped and we're like, what the heck? We're looking around. What's he doing? Where is he? And you know,
Shit.
Dulcie was kind of upset at that moment because she's thinking maybe he's doing drugs or something. She was really upset, thinking maybe he's doing drugs or something. What the
Okay.
hell is he doing? So I said, I don't know, but I'm done. I'm going to get in the pool. I just was hot and irritated and just didn't want to deal with it. And so I said, I'm going to the pool. So we left and drove and parked the mower by the pool.
Okay, so you took your mower
Drove back
over by the pool.
and parked and then
I'm
proceeded to get in the pool.
Okay, so you're in the pool. When is the next time you see Chandler?
Do you want me to show you on that map?
Absolutely, I would love that.
I would really much.
Why don't you do it and then I'll say it again so it's in the mic.
We were in the pool.
Oh, excuse me.
And
Wow.
I'd say it was right approximately in this area. He was walking this way towards us, coming towards us. I thought maybe he was going to the car, but then he passed the car and kept coming towards us.
Okay, so why don't you sit and I'll try to say it again in the mic. So you saw him, you kind of pointed, there's some white, I don't know what that is. It
I
might
don't
just
know.
be a
Oh, those
wood.
are old beehives.
Oh, okay,
I got
so-
a bunch of beehives that I cleaning out my shed and they were old and I just threw them out there.
Okay, was he kind of coming from that area?
Yeah, he was walking
I
towards
like
that
her.
direction, like towards that way, yeah.
All
coming
right,
that way.
and his car was here, but he walked past his car, you said,
Yes,
and then walked over by the pool?
right.
Okay. Do you remember what he was wearing?
It's definitely like
Like
old.
baby shorts. He had a shirt
She's
on, I
like
thought
baby
before, and
shorts.
when he came back, he didn't have a shirt.
So when he was approaching the pool, coming out of the wooded area, no shirt.
Right.
Okay.
What happened to your
All
shirt?
right, so he's approaching the pool. Does he actually get up to the pool?
Yeah, he came up to the pool. And I said, hey, Chandler, I don't have a shirt on.
Sure,
Because I go shirtless in my pool. That's kind of why I was waiting for him to leave, because I wanted to have the privacy to get in my pool.
sure. Okay,
Fair enough.
you tell him you don't have a shirt on. What happens next?
And he said, well, if it would be all right, I'd like to get in the pool. I'm kind of sticky and I'm hot. And I remember looking at Dulce because I want to be respectful. And I said, well, I don't have a problem with it, Dulce, if you don't. And she just kind of was shrugged and, you know, I kind of could tell she didn't really like it, but she just kind of turned and was sort of like, whatever. And so I said, okay. And so then I kind of turned and he got in the pool. And he went to the east side of the pool and we kind of went to the west side of the pool.
Okay, and was he actively swimming or something
No, he
else?
just kind of dipped up and down and kind of was like washing, you know, like himself off. He said it was kind of scratchy on his walk and it was itchy and sticky. So he was just kind of like,
So you did a motion with your hands
yeah,
and
like
you
he
said the
kinda
word
was-
wash.
Yeah, like he'd dunk down and then he'd kind of like, you know, be doing like this and dunk down and kind of.
He was
Okay.
splashing.
Kind of washing himself,
Splish,
rinsing himself.
splash.
Yeah, and then it was odd because he just seemed really different when he got in the pool from when he was talking to us before.
Different how?
Well, he seemed more lucid, like he just seemed more present.
Did you say present or pleasant?
Present, like focused. You're welcome.
Got rid of
Okay.
the evidence.
What happened next?
Well, then Dulce was starting to ask him questions because I think she was concerned maybe he was doing some drugs, and I think she just wanted to sort of see if he was. So she started asking him questions and things like that to see how he would respond. Because while he was gone and we were in the pool, that's what she spoke to me mostly about, is what's going on with him. I'm worried. I don't know why he's acting this way. What's he doing? And so
Just to clear this up, though, no paraphernalia or any evidence of drugs was ever found.
none ever.
Okay.
And he admitted, that was one of the questions. She says, if you're doing drugs, Jan, I'm telling you right now, that's a deal breaker. And if you ever come, and he said, I will never, ever bring drugs to the house, or I don't do drugs. He, she
Okay. I just wanted to clear that
yeah,
up.
she confronted him about that.
Okay. What happens next?
Well, we just started talking, she was worried, where was he going to stay? Because he thought he lost his job. And she was offered to say he could stay maybe at her house in town for a while if he needed to.
Pardon me, I have to interrupt here. This is all hearsay.
Agreed. I'll go ahead and ask to rephrase the question. And
But you've been letting her say it all,
Sure.
so
Outside of specifics of the conversation,
what's your point?
how long was Chandler in the pool?
Oh, maybe 15 minutes-ish, roughly.
All right. And at some point, does he get out of the pool first, or do you?
He got up first. He said he was in a hurry. He had to go. That Catherine was getting dinner or something, and so he was like on a mission and had to let's go. And he got out and went to the car and drove off.
Okay. And his car that he went to was over there by the oil tank near the wood line.
Right.
So you had to walk
All
back.
right. I just want to back up here a
Drive
second.
it back over.
You said at first, when you first talked with him on the deck when you were working on a project with Dulce, he then left to supposedly go swimming, and then you didn't see him until he walked out of the wood line later. What was the time gap between the time he said, I'm going to go to the pool, and the time he actually went to the pool?
The first time or the second time, or all together? Because there was,
Altogether. So the time you were on the deck working on your project,
and he showed up, and by the
right?
time
And
he
then
left,
from the time he left you at the deck area until you saw him walk out of the wooded area, about what was the time frame in there?
I'm guesstimating, maybe 45 minutes, an hour-ish, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a guesstimate.
Okay.
It was a while. It just seemed, to me, it seemed forever because I wanted to get in the pool.
Sure.
So it just seemed like a long time.
She was hot.
And then after he got out of the pool, he got into his vehicle and drove away.
Yeah.
Now, later that day, did you find out that he actually had attempted to contact you prior to coming to your property?
Yeah, later, I remember seeing the message was blinking on my landline. And so I pressed it, and then a name came up, and I didn't know I didn't recognize the name. And then I heard Chandler's voice. So he had left me a message, but I didn't realize it until after he'd come and gone, and I listened to it later.
So he left you a message or a voicemail?
Yeah, and saying he wanted to come and could he come and use the pool?
And did you turn that message or voicemail over to the Dane County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I did.
And did you turn over a true and accurate copy of that message?
Yes, it's still on there right now.
Okay. I would at this time move Exhibit 64 into evidence.
No objection.
it is received.
Fantastic. Good. Good
I
on
would
ya.
ask to publish the message to the jury.
You may.
Good on ya. What was that?
This is supposed to be going on. Okay.
The screen in front of you shows what the jury's seeing.
No. All right, thank you. That's right there.
Hi, Chris, this is Chandler. I just got back with some pretty terrible news from my doctor. So I was wondering if I could come by. I don't know, take a couple laps to the pool or hang out. Something. Not having the most ideal day, I suppose. So call me back, 920-838-4549. Thank you. Bye.
Monday, 4:25 p.m.
And this was message 116.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. On July 7th, the next day, that Tuesday, did you receive any communication from Chandler?
Not directly from Chandler, no. But I'd heard otherwise that he was trying to come out, and I was having trouble with my phone for some reason, wasn't working my landline, and I was kind of feeling stressed and didn't really want to deal with anybody at the farm that day.
All right, and so did Chandler end up coming out on the 7th?
No.
Or, I'm sorry, that's the
6th.
Yeah, the 7th, okay.
No. It's the 6th.
Later in the course of this investigation, various items were found on your property that you were made aware of. Is that fair?
Yes.
Poor lady. Moving on.
Thank you all. Please be seated.
It's still her though.
Attorney Raymond.
Thank you. Cress, I'm going to approach you and show you a series of pictures of things found on your property and talk to you about those. First, I'm going to show you what has been marked as exhibits 58 through 63. Do you just want to look through those? Yeah, you absolutely. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions here. And we're going to have testimony about this later, but exhibit 58 is a garbage can found in the woods. Did you keep a Rubbermaid or a black rubber garbage can in your woods?
No.
And exhibit 59, what is that a picture of?
That's an old, I don't know if it's fuel oil or gas. It's for scrap. I just haven't took it to the salvage yard yet.
Okay. Did you keep tools in exhibit 59? Yes.
No.
What is picture 60?
That's the entrance to my driveway, and I don't recognize the car. There's a bag, and that's where I keep my recycling and my trash.
And that bag appears to be a Target bag.
So,
And 61 is a close-up of the same.
right.
And 62 and 63 are some items that were found in that Target bag. Did those items belong to your house?
No.
Did you throw those items away?
No.
And your father is 94, you said?
Yes.
Only other person that lives there?
Right. Well, my brother, but he was at assisted living at the time.
Okay. So your father, it would take great effort to go and throw anything away outside.
No, he couldn't.
State at this time would move exhibits 58 through 63 into evidence.
Any objection?
None.
They are received.
I will ask you about these in a minute, but if you want to just look through those in the meantime, I'm going to publish 58 through 63 to the jury. And Ms. Lasai, the little screen in front of you will have what I'm showing the jury. What do I have to do here? Thank you. The clerk is working on that. That second group of photos that I showed you, how would you describe those as a group?
As a group, well, this is the tobacco shed that you call the barn. It's the shed. Looks better now, though.
Why does it look better now?
Yeah, because I cleaned it out. I got a big dumpster. Been meaning to do it for some years now. I didn't get through it because I got a little upset there for a second.
That's okay. But 66 through 70 are pictures of your barn before you cleaned it out.
That's correct.
And 71 through 74 are pictures of something that you later found in your barn during the cleanout.
That's right.
I would move to admit pictures 66 through 74.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
They are received. While you have identified the exhibits and testified about them. The ability to publish them to the jury requires the state to go through them with you again, but with the jury able to see those photos at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I know it's never perfect because of the glare, but, Chris, this is the garbage can picture exhibit 58 that I showed you that was found in the woods, but it was not yours.
No,
And how would you describe exhibit 59?
it's an old fuel tank that's been sitting there for a while. We're going to take it to salvage and you have to cut a hole in there so that they know you don't fill it with concrete or something, so they want to look in there.
Okay. And again, you didn't keep anything such as tools inside of it.
No,
And exhibit 60, is that a picture at the end of your driveway?
right.
And is this where you keep the garbage cans?
Yeah, that's where I put the trash and the recycling.
Now, during the time of this, in the first week of July, did you have an experience of your garbage cans being moved?
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't, I don't recall. I don't even know if I took trash out that week.
Okay. So you do not recall a day when they may have been at the road and then somebody put them back?
No, I'm not aware of that.
That's okay.
But that could have happened, just meaning because they'll say sometimes like if the trash is out and she goes out, sometimes she'll put it back and I don't know about it. That could have happened. I don't know.
Sure, fair enough. But there's a Target bag here. Do you normally keep your trash outside of your garbage cans?
No, I would have put it in the trash.
All right. That's exhibit 60. Exhibit 61. Just a close up of exhibit 60.
Right.
All right, and then I showed you exhibit 62, stuff that was found inside of that Target bag. Some rags with a substance on them. Did you throw away those rags?
No.
And exhibit 63, just been separated out. Moving on, exhibit 66. How would you describe exhibit 66?
Well, that's the north side of my shed. And my little lawnmower.
Lawnmower.
Yeah, it's just showing you the entrance there on the north side.
No. Don't do that.
Exhibit 68.
Yep, that's the messy shed.
Why you got out here like that?
Exhibit 69, more of the same.
Right.
Exhibit 70. There's an item here along the back wall, kind of by some boards.
Yeah, there's a bird bath there.
Can you tell it all from this angle what was behind the bird bath?
Well, there's a rifle there.
And at some point, you discover a rifle in your barn.
Yes.
Do you keep guns in your barn?
Not normally. My dad sometimes he'd keep a pellet gun up there, but he hasn't been walking for a few years, so.
So what did you do well, first off, when did you first see this gun?
Well, I was organizing along the wall, like I say, I was cleaning out my shed and I wanted to go through these like garden tools because making sure I still use them, were they broken, when I was going to throw them away. So and then I was organizing, putting lumber where the lumber goes, the recycling where the recycling goes. And so I lifted up the board and I saw a barrel of a gun and I thought, oh, right away I thought, what's my dad, what the heck has he got his pellet gun over here? So I picked it up by the barrel and looked at it and I right away recognized it wasn't a gun that I'd ever saw or seen ever before.
And just to be clear for the jury, this gun, before you lifted it up, was behind the board?
Yes, it was behind us. There was like maybe 4 or 5 different boards there.
So upon realizing you don't know where this gun came from, what do?
Well, the first thing is I just felt sort of this sick feeling and I set it back down and then I went to ask my father just to make sure that he didn't know about any gun in the shed. And I went and asked and he said, well, what does it look like or whatever? And I said, well, Dad, I'm just going to call the police. And then I called Krista, the head of the investigation. She left me her number and I called her and spoke with her and told her what I'd found. And she told me that she was going to send somebody out.
Okay, and do you remember roughly what month?
Oh, it was in the middle of October-ish because I wanted to clean out the shed earlier, but the police were there for so long. My raspberries started, so it was after the raspberries were done, which was sometime in the end of October-ish.
Okay.
She's so cute.
Yes.
I love country people. They're just so
Kind of a glare.
matter of fact.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is.
Yeah. It looks to be.
Do you want to look at the actual photo?
Yeah, that would be
Do that.
helpful. But it looks similar. Yes.
Ms. Raymond, if you want to show that to the jury as you walk back towards the Elmo.
Bless you.
I see.
And exhibit 72. Let's see if we can get a little better. That's just a close-up of the same.
Yes.
And then actually we'll publish 73 and 74. So did the police then in October, after you found the gun, come and retrieve the gun?
Yes.
And in July, when Chandler was on your farm, did you have your barn or your shed locked at all?
No.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi.
Picking up where you just left off, do you ever lock or close up that shed or barn?
I haven't for some years. When I used to go to Florida in the winter, I would close it and lock it, but I haven't been there for a while. So, no.
And is it fair to say that before you got the garbage bin and did the major cleaning of the shed, you didn't know exactly every item that was in there, right?
No, not every single item, no.
And you testified that there was a delay in getting the garbage bin and cleaning out that shed because the police were there for a while.
That's correct.
How long were they there in possession of your property or on your property?
Ooh, seemed like forever. A couple of weeks at least, maybe longer.
And they had closed off that area to you?
Yes, they got kind of upset every time I come up with a lawnmower because I couldn't even mow my lawn, and it was frustrating. So, but they pretty much kept me by my house. They didn't really want me anywhere around.
And was it your understanding that they were searching that area at that time?
Yeah, they were searching my whole property. They served me with a warrant.
Now, moving back in time a little bit to 4th of July weekend, I think I heard you
Well, to
testify
be
that
fair,
Chandler Halderson was not acting like himself. Is
they
that
were
right?
searching for
That's correct.
body
And it was
parts.
for that observation that you and
So-
Dulce might have thought, oh, is he doing some drugs? Is that right?
Yeah, it was a question because we couldn't figure out why he seemed a little off.
And you had never seen him like that before, right?
No.
And normally he's sort of a quiet, nerdy kid, right?
Yeah, that's a good description.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Any
Okay.
redirects?
No, Your Honor.
May Ms. Lasai be excused at this time? She's excused. But not released? Correct. That means that you're still under the subpoena and search, so you can't discuss your testimony with anyone, but you're
That's a
excused
good
unless recalled by the
description.
state at any time. You can stay in touch with them. Thank you very much.
All right, thank
Have
you.
a good rest of your day.
No, thank you. Please go back to where I had you. Alt. Who are you? No problem listening and paying attention.
Detective, you anticipated my question. If you're willing and able to safely and responsibly testify without a mask, please do so. Thank you. Attorney Brown.
Good afternoon. Please state and spell your name for the jury.
It's Brent Baverstock, Brent Baverstock.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a detective with the Dane County Sheriff's Office.
In your role as a detective with the Dane County
Baverstock.
Sheriff's Office, were
That's
you
an
asked to follow up an
unfortunate name.
investigation of two missing people, Bart Halderson and Christopher Halderson, in the early part of July of 2021?
Yes.
Initially, what was your role in the investigation?
I was not initially a part of the first response to it. However, maybe shortly before noon on July 8th, Detective Liz Allen came to my office. She said she had just had a phone call with the mother of Catherine Melander, who was the girlfriend of Chandler Halderson. And during that phone call, she didn't intended to do initially just a phone interview to just kind of get some background information, but some things on that phone call alerted her to believe that we needed to follow up with a in-person interview. So she came to my office and asked me to sit in on that interview because we try to interview people, with at least two detectives there to support each other.
Sure. And was that with Dulce?
That was with Dulce, correct.
And just briefly, if you could describe Dulce's kind of emotional state during some of that interview.
Well, we got to the location where we agreed to interview her, which is she was in the middle of some classes, trying to improve her education. And we sat in a side little conference room, and she was emotionally distraught. She kind of had this look of fear and panic in her eyes.
Okay. Now they've testified, so we're not going to talk much about that interview. But at some point, do you end up going to a farm that you thought might have been visited by Chandler Halderson over the 4th of July weekend and leading into the next week?
Yeah, based upon our interviews with them, we determined we needed to get out to that farm right away and search it.
Sure. I think it's been described as being near Cottage Grove, but kind of in a rural area of Dane County. That sound fair to you?
Yes.
The entire location of that farm, is that here in Dane County, Wisconsin?
Yes, it is.
And it fairly remote?
Yeah.
Had you ever been there before?
No.
If you could describe the farm just in general to us.
Sure. Well, it's probably 30 to 40 acres. A lot of it is wooded. The house sits in a wooded area. There's a paved driveway that goes up from the road that kind of turns off to where the house is. And then if you kept going straight on that, it would turn into a gravel, and then up into the grassy area would be where like the back shed was, in the pool and the raspberries.
Did you personally yourself walk out there with Cress or Dulce or anybody?
Yes, I did.
Who was with you?
Well, I had first gone there, responded out there pretty quickly. There were a lot of red flags that popped up during my interview with Crescent, and I called to the command post to Detective Sims, and I talked to her. I'm like, I need some more people. We need to get out here. We need to search this place right away. But we were pretty stretched thin at that point. We had sent a team up to, the team was headed up to the cabin to do some more investigation up there. I'm like, we need some more people.
Waste of time because there was nothing there.
We need to get out there and search it. So she was able to provide at least another detective, Detective Tim Blank, along with me and Detective Liz Allen. And then while I was on the way, I contacted Barry Ehrman from the Dane County Medical Examiner's Office and asked him to respond with his cadaver dog to help us do the search. I got there and nobody was there. I had expected Cress and Dulce to beat me there. When I went to the house, knocked on the door, nobody answered. And I got worried that they maybe went up and started searching on their own. So I went up there. I went up into the grassy area. Like you can see, you have a photo of the farm there. So I could see whether or not anybody was back by there. And, I noticed, during my contact with Cress, she did talk that she had recently seen vultures circling over the property.
Your Honor, I'm going to object as hearsay.
Sure.
Sustained.
Did you yourself at some point see some birds over the woods?
Yes.
And what were those birds?
Turkey vultures.
And did that raise red flags to you?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Most birds really don't have a sense of smell except for turkey vultures. Turkey vultures actually, when a body or an animal or creature dies, starts going through some changes. The microorganisms on there start producing different gases, and it emanates an odor. Turkey vultures can smell it. And when they do, they'll start circling the area to locate where it's coming from.
And were those turkey vultures over the wooded area at the farm?
When I got there, yeah.
Did you find Cress and Dulce as you walked back there?
Eventually, I walked up there. I didn't see them, and then Cress came out of the back sliding patio door and met me. And then I asked her if she could show me again where she had seen Chandler back by the woods. And we walked back up to the area of the shed, and she showed me.
When you say she showed you, did she point physically?
Yeah, she did.
All right. And so what I'm going to have you do, and because she's already testified, you can't say what she said, but you saw her point at a location?
Yes.
Can you please stand up for 1 second and point on that map to the location that Cress pointed out to you as where she saw Chandler?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, after to tell me exactly where she'd seen the vehicle parked, we walked up and came over this area, put the vehicle parked in this area, and then first saw Chandler coming out of.
Your Honor, objection, hearsay again.
Oh, hearsay.
I'm sorry, I missed the part of the objection.
It was
Hearsay again about what someone told him.
Sustained.
And maybe I'll ask a better question. When she physically herself pointed at a location where she saw Chandler coming out of the woods, where was that location? Okay. Okay, physically put her hand up and pointed? Okay, thank you. You can take a seat.
You want to describe that for the record, counsel?
I will. I would say that the witness just pointed toward the wood line, approximately a foot below that barn, where the barn is. Counsel's nodding in agreement, so I think that's fair to say. At that point, what did you do?
Well, my partners hadn't arrived yet, so I asked her to go back and wait in the house, and I told her that my partners would soon, and we'd start doing our search. We returned back to the driveway, and Detective Blank and Detective had arrived shortly thereafter, and then we went back up to that area, and we started looking around.
So I'm going to ask you what you saw first. When you got down to that area, all these, I'll pause for a second. I apologize for maybe being sporadic there. All of these vehicles in the photograph, those are related to law enforcement and the investigation, correct?
Correct.
There were not a bunch of vehicles parked out there when you were there?
No.
Were there any vehicles parked out there other than law enforcement vehicles?
There's one vehicle parked inside the shed, but not visible, I think, from that photograph.
Understood. As you got over toward, let's say, that junk pile before the grass gets longer there, did you see any signs that a car had been over there?
Yes.
What did you see?
Well, Detective Blank pointed it out first. He pointed over and he said, well, looks like cars
Oh,
driven
nope,
through the tall
hearsay.
grass over here. I'm like, yeah, it does. So we went over there and we saw there were 2 tracks of the taller grass. The grass is probably about, waist high. You can see the 2 track marks that go back along the parallel with the wood line there.
And at that point or shortly thereafter, you and other detectives began maybe searching a little bit closer into where those tire tracks went.
Yeah, we began to follow them. We went back probably about to an area where there were some white wooden boxes that are old beehives. They were just kind of stored along the tree line.
And that's before you entered the woods, correct?
That's before I entered the woods.
Okay, so we're going to pause there, and I'm going to have you look at a couple of exhibits first, so we're all on the same page. Exhibits 75 through 81. Just page through those and give me just, in general, what am I looking at there?
75 is the driveway entrance for the residents to the farm.
Okay.
Farm, Your Honor.
76 is just going up further along the driveway. You can see it starts to split at the end there. This little angle to the right here goes towards the house.
Jeffrey
The one that
Dahmer's from
continues straight on
Wisconsin.
is the one that continues to where it becomes gravel.
Daryl
and goes up
Brooks
towards
thing was in
the field.
Wisconsin.
Here's where if you were to take that little fork in the driveway and go right, you would see the house.
This is in Wisconsin.
That's number 77.
Kyle
Number
Rittenhouse
78
was in
is
Wisconsin.
the back side of the house, but if you drive in to the driveway,
does a lot of
so
shit.
the garage would be on the right side of this picture. So this would be facing back towards like the pool area.
Sure.
And that's number 78.
I know there's more.
79 is the gravel driveway where the paved portion turns into gravel and then continues up towards the pool.
Okay.
That's 79.
80?
80 is after the gravel driveway ends, and we're now heading to just the grassy area to where you see the raspberry
Yes, I'm doing laundry.
garden here and then the pool.
Yes, I've done it before.
And then 81,
Call it out.
this is the area in which
Might as well be doing something while I'm
Crescent
sitting
had
here.
pointed out to me that the vehicle had parked, and she actually noted out that these tire marks here in the grass.
Your Honor, I'm going to object again as hearsay.
Sustained.
Sure. But is 81 that area
She
pointed out?
pointed
I'll take
out.
those exhibits. I'll move to publish 75 through 81.
He didn't say she said.
I'll move them, Deb.
Any
No
objections
objection.
They are received, you may publish.
And if you could put the HDMI 2 on, I'm going to display these off my computer so there's no glare.
Now you want to do something.
Exhibit number 75, we're looking at the driveway coming from the street up to the house.
You got shit to say?
Is that correct?
That is correct.
We'll just page through these. 76, that's that driveway going up right before the split.
Correct.
77, coming up toward the house.
Yep, that's the split to the right, looking at the house.
Stop saying words.
78, a view of the house.
Correct.
That's the lawnmower we might have heard about people driving around.
Yes.
And if we're looking at this house, beyond it is the pool and the shed and that grassy area, correct?
If you were standing at that patio door and looking away from the house would be the pool.
79, the gravel driveway as it goes up towards the pool in that area.
Correct.
80, now we're up kind of in that grassy area.
Yep, that's where the gravel ends and it's just the open area.
And 81, I think you described this as generally kind of the start
This
of the
poor
area
lady.
that's pointed out to you.
Yeah. it's the
Trying to be
remote
nice
area
and
just
let
to
this
the
man come swim
south of
because
the,
she thought he had a
big shed.
concussion.
Sure.
And
I'm going to
was
do this a little bit different. I'm going to show you what's been marked in this case as exhibits number 82 through 107.
He came and dumped his
Just by
father's
yourself, page
body.
3, and the question at the end is going to be, are these photographs of
Parts.
essentially that area leading up to what you found and the
On
items
her
that you found
land.
in the woods? I'm going to ask you, and then we're going to look at them all together, okay?
Okay.
So you can just look through those and let me know if that's what we're looking at.
Is that 82 to
nerve.
107, Council?
Correct.
Thank you.
The nerve of people. Should have done more laundry. You know, my son bought more laundry stuff because we ran out. He went and bought more. The unscentable thingies. Or I think that's what they are. The little things you put in to make your laundry smell good. He bought more of them. He bought the smallest one because it was the cheapest. It's going to last, 3 loads? But it was the thought that counts. It was very sweet. And then he bought
Question,
himself some more
are those
pillows.
photographs of leading up to the area that was pointed out to you, and then ultimately your
No.
search into the woods and maybe what you found?
I showed
Yes,
him
they
where the
Computer
extra
true and
pillows
accurate, to
were,
the best of your knowledge?
Yes, they are.
I would move
but
82
because he
to
had to move
No
things out of the way, he
All right,
was
we're gonna
like,
do this
"Eh,
together. We're gonna walk through them. So you see,
Whatever. and he didn't get them out of
You
the
can
closet.
See the same exhibit on the.
So he
computer
went and
monitor,
spent
too.
money.
Okay.
That might help pick up the microphone better as we go through this.
So we'll start with 82.
Whatever,
What are we
bro.
looking at there, and what did you personally observe when you were out there?
So there's the mowed section of the grass, which is just south of the barn.
500
There's a
photos in this
stack of
house.
old logs
And
sitting
he
there,
just
but
bought
to
two
the
more.
right is where we could see what appeared to be two tire marks going into the deeper grass.
Did you follow those tire marks?
Yes, I did.
It's fine.
Excuse me. 83.
He drove all the way
Did you have
back
those tire
there.
marks?
Yep.
84. What are we looking at there?
More tire
Just a
marks?
continuation of the tire marks, where the tire marks end. There was another area of depressed grass, which would have been, if you're looking at the two tire marks, where they stop, there's another area of depressed grass in all different directions at the end of it, sitting right there.
Not even my
We'll
shirt.
go to 85. This is
Child shirt.
maybe looking more into the woods at this point.
Yeah, so if you're standing near where all that grass was patted down at the end of the tire marks in the grass, you look over and you can see more of the grass is like pressed down, heading towards the woods.
And was that, we're seeing it on a photograph, but I'll ask you, because you were out there, was it apparent to you that this was an area that had been walked through or trampled in some way?
This
by
isn't
someone or
mine
something?
either.
Yes,
And did you follow it?
yes, I did.
Okay, and so you
Bobby?
entered the woods right there?
Correct.
All right, we're gonna pause 1 second. On this big blow up, if you could just stand up for 1 second and point to the jury on exhibit number 57, where you cut into the woods.
Whoa. I can't see shit. Nope. All I see is glare.
All right, for the record, the witness ran his hands essentially down the wood line from the junk pile to the beehives and then drove them into the woods.
No objection.
Very good.
Nope. I object. I can't see.
86, photograph of that trampled area. 87, what are we looking at there?
So, picture doesn't show it as much,
Area.
but there's, again, you can see the
Right here.
vegetation in the ground there,
You
but
can't
it was
see
very
me.
directional as far as this area. You
Sir.
see like this log.
And you had pointed
vegetation
out.
had been trampled down. So it's hard to tell from this picture, but there's actually a downward slope here. You know,
It's lazy
the
as
trees weren't
hell.
there,
He
it'd be a
couldn't
good
even
little sledding hill
walk
for little kids.
far enough.
But there's like a downward slope that goes down into, you can see like a little brush pile.
He barely just,
Okay.
he drove back there,
88, what are you
backed
looking at?
up.
More of the trampled
Dropped them
grass that
off.
goes to this log that goes across.
And said, oh,
Um,
that's
And then you can
good.
see, like, they get the green moss on the log, but there's areas where the green moss had been scraped off as if something had scraped it off.
Did you notice anything ultimately beyond that log at this point?
Yeah, the pile of sticks on the other side of the log, and there was just something that wasn't natural under the sticks.
Did you go check it out?
Yeah, I got as close as I had to.
89, the photo just moving a little bit closer.
Had to figure out.
Yep, yeah, again, you see the scrapes on the log there, just under the moss, and then you can see the pile of sticks there, and there's something underneath it. Couldn't quite tell what it was right away, so I stepped over the log and got a little bit of a closer look.
And what did you find?
I didn't know what it was at first.
What do you mean by that?
It took me a while to process what I was seeing. You know, then it became obvious that I was looking at a human torso.
Okay. So we're gonna move in a little bit closer to photograph 90.
Just like, okay, moving
Again,
on.
we're starting to maybe be able to see that, what you saw that day,
Yes.
under those sticks. Okay. Going to 91, a different view of kind of looking at through those sticks.
Yeah, and this is about the view that I had. You could see the flesh-colored skin on the right, and the belt and pants, and a black rope attached to it. And that was, you can see the rope coming out from the bottom of the stick pile.
Okay. We're gonna go to the next photo, which is 92. Just a close-up of under those sticks.
Yes.
At this point, counsel, I will caution and remind the jurors that obviously at some point these photographs will become more explicit as necessary for the state's case in chief. And I just remind you to observe them for whatever length of time you believe is necessary as a juror to do your job. If anyone needs a pause, we'll be happy to do that. And I know Attorney Brown or other counsel, if they're
I
using any
don't
of these
think
photos,
they've
will
chosen-
alert you every time the photo is going to change, so that if you have diverted your gaze, you'll know to look back to see the next photo. Please continue. Thank you.
Don't
We'll
think
go
so.
to the
What
next
if they
photo.
do?
93.
Warning.
What are we looking at there?
That's the rope that was attached to the body.
The rope.
Is the rope in the upper right-hand corner?
No, it's all throughout the picture there. I don't know if you can see from your
Oh,
angle,
okay.
but
Thank you.
it's all throughout the picture there.
Thank you.
We'll
Kind
go
of
to the
coiled
next
up like a snake.
photo, which is 94. Nope, we're briefly going to turn away, but what is that?
That's a garbage can.
And where was that in relation to the torso?
Told you, they don't show that.
So in relation to, so this is back up closer to the top of the hill. Off to the right, out of picture, would be where the beehive boxes were.
And that tarp was out there around the time you found the torso? Or that garbage can?
The garbage can was there. The tarp was inside of it.
Excuse me. And then, is this a close-up, exhibit number 95?
Yes.
Now, moving back, obviously, number 96, we're back to looking at that pile of sticks, correct?
Correct. We're looking at the human torso underneath the pile of sticks.
Was it a considerable pile of debris on top of the torso? If you could describe it any way you could.
You know, it wasn't natural to, it looked like it had been accumulated and placed on top. There wasn't another pile of sticks nearby. Similarly, it was mostly a collection of dead wood that was placed on top.
The next photo,
You tried to hide it, I guess.
97, just looking at it from a different angle.
Very poor
Yeah,
job.
and there you can see the belt with the rope tied around the waist.
So the rope was both off to the side, and you saw it around the waist.
Correct.
Number 98, what am I looking at there?
You're looking at the torso with, I believe that's going to be the most obvious sign would be like the right shoulder with the arm severed off, the head missing.
We'll go to the next photo, which is 99. What are we looking at there?
At the upper shoulders of the back of the torso.
We'll go to the next photo, which is 100. What are we looking at there?
You can see the back of the torso. Again, you see the belt and the pants, the rope tied around the waist. You see the back hair is pretty visible.
Now, I know we're looking at these all at once, but I think you mentioned earlier on the way out to the property, knowing what you had heard, you'd already called Barry Ehrman, who's the director of the medical examiner's office. At some point, other people arrived during this search, right, from the medical examiner's office, things of that sort.
Yes.
And while we're looking at them all in one group, there was a removal of the debris at some points over the torso, kind of supervised by everyone who was out there, making sure it was done correctly.
Correct.
Okay. So the next photo, we're going to start to see what that looked like maybe after some of the debris was removed, okay? We're going to go to photograph 101. And just describe that if you could for the record.
Again, it's the torso we found, however, all the branches have been removed from the top of it.
Was that the position it was in after all the branches were removed?
Yes.
Okay. And I think you testified previously that the limbs were severed in the head. A couple different views of that exist in terms of photographs. So we're going to go to exhibit number 102. And is that a different view?
Yes, it is.
Now, anatomically, standing, how the body is it facing down? If the head were still present, would it be facing down? Are we looking at that person's back?
Yeah.
Yes, the chest would be toward the ground at this point. Back is facing upward.
We're going to go to the
That's
next
not
photograph.
how it was found, I don't think.
What is that?
That is a defect in the back, which would indicate, at least from the number of times that I've seen it personally, that there was a wound there.
Consistent with a bullet wound.
Yeah, and I'm going to object at this point as to foundation and expertise.
I'll sustain. I think the description of a defect is appropriate based upon what we have as a foundation.
Sure. We'll hear from the medical examiners later, perspective, but I'm going to go back one photograph for 102. Is that defect present in that photograph as well?
Yes, it is.
And if you could just visit again, you know how it works.
As an
before we take the
officer,
record, could you describe physically?
You seen
on the
gunshot
torso
wounds
where that
before?
defect is on that person?
In the center of the back, probably, 8 inches above the belt line,
So
6 to 8 inches.
Understood. We'll go back to 103, we've already looked at. We're going to look at the next photograph, which is 104. What are we looking at there?
We're looking at what would be the buttocks of the torso, the belt, and the pants, which had been appeared to have been cut at the top left of the screen, as well as some red staining along the pants, and the rope again tied around the waist.
And I'll go to number 105. Here we see someone manipulating that clothing. Someone involved in the investigation, obviously.
Yes.
Okay. What are we looking at there?
Looking at the upper portion of the pants where the what would be just underneath the back of the belt to where the pants meet, that the fabric had began to tear.
Obviously, the torso needed to be removed from the area it was in and taken somewhere else.
Yes,
That was done by the medical examiner.
correct.
Doctors came out and helped with that.
Yes.
In the process of doing that, part of what happened, a bag or a sheet, something of that sort, right, for transport?
It would be placed into a sealed, in my experience, every time we've done it, it's always placed into what we call a body bag. Sometimes different size bags are used, but yeah, it would be to preserve anything that was on it and to transport it.
And that was done in this case.
Yes.
I'm going to show the next exhibit, 106. Is that the beginnings of that process of rolling the torso over and maybe onto a more sterile surface?
Yes.
And now we're looking at the front of that torso.
Correct.
No, we're not. We're looking at a blurry screen.
And I'm going to go to the last
Don't worry about
exhibit, 107. After the torso was
No,
rolled
you
over,
can see it.
something was found underneath it. Black item, correct?
Yeah, you could see it even when the torso, it was sticking out from underneath it. It was a
Don't need
black
to see
t-shirt.
it.
You can see the many maggots that were
Oh,
found around the
God.
shirt and around the wounds on the torso.
Jesus, Lord have mercy.
Couple of questions about that. And you said that there were some maggots and things of that sort. Were insects and the natural processes beginning to become a problem for that torso in your observation?
Become a problem for the torso?
In terms of the deteroration of the torso, were there insects and things of that sort around?
Well, typically we'll call in a forensic entomologist, but it's part of the decomposition process when
Bodies left to the elements.
any animal or any living tissue is exposed to the elements. Flies will come, they'll lay their eggs. Within a certain amount of time, those eggs will hatch into maggots, and the maggots will feed and begin to
hate
consume
maggots. It's
and
disgusting.
continue on with the process
Stop
of
saying that
breaking
word.
down the body.
Ugh.
We're coming to an end, but fair to say that while you may have been the first one to come upon this, a lot of people ultimately descended on this farm and got involved in the investigation at that point.
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, we're probably going to hear from you again in this case, aren't we?
Probably, I would think so.
Okay. I have no further questions for now for the detective.
Cross-examination.
Nothing for now, thank you.
Nothing for now, thank you. Oh,
Thank you so much.
don't like either one of them.
Attorney Brown,
I think it would be a fair place to break for lunch.
I think we can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a little.
And this is a fair place to break for this video. We are gonna call this quits for this video. This is part 1. We made it. Defense still not doing nothing. And even when they do something, it don't make no damn sense because I don't understand. They're objecting to things that don't mean nothing. And then they don't say anything when they ask questions. I don't know what their strategy is. I don't know what their defense is. I don't know any of the things. And I would like them to pick up the pace and get to where we're going. That's what I would like them to do now. So we will get right in to the second half of day 3 and see what happens. Because curious. Maybe we'll figure it out. I don't know. Okay, join me. Like, subscribe, comment, all of those things. Do that. Get me in there. Okay. Later.